Air Canada flight attendants are set to picket at airports across the country tomorrow. There are 4 that they have chosen, including Pearson International in Toronto. This as a strike deadline nears, and there's concerns that no agreement may be reached by then. Flight attendants are taking part in what they are calling a mobilization at airports in Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary, and Montreal. A union spokesperson says they will be standing in silence in their uniform to show support for union leaders at the bargaining table with Air Canada. Now, more than 10,000 flight attendants could be on strike as early as Saturday at midnight if a new negotiated agreement in principle isn't agreed to by then. For more on this, we're joined now by Shannon Elliott, the co-chair of the Air Canada Component Mobilization Committee. Now, Shannon, I'm reading it has been 243 days based on the AC Component website that you've been attempting to get a new contract. How have things been going, and what do you have to say to travelers who are worried about what could be happening in the coming weeks?
Hi, thank you for having me. I think the biggest piece of advice or message I would want to send is that nobody wants to go on strike. Our goal is not to go on strike. The goal at the bargaining table is really to be able to ratify a tentative agreement. That is the goal. However, unfortunately, if that is not possible, then we do have to prepare for other means to get that done.
This has also been, well, the impasse maybe not, but the where we are right now has been a long time coming. How many years has it been since the union has been at the bargaining table for a new contract?
Yeah, so we're coming out of, as of March 31st, we exited a 10-year collective agreement. So it's been a while.
And what's changed since then, Shannon? I know one thing that's been talked about quite a bit is the amount of time that staff, such as flight attendants, spend not in the air, unpaid. And the reality is really since the post 9/11 era of air travel, there's a lot of work that goes in from a security and screening standpoint, and that, from my understanding, is unpaid. Has there been a change from other airlines where other air carriers are paying their staff, and that's seemingly a reason why Air Canada should do the same?
So I can't speak for other airlines, but what I can say for certain is it is an outdated practice that no longer should be the norm. You can say that, you know, other airlines potentially do the same thing, but we are now in 2025. Our wages have not kept up to inflation. The amount of time that we actually spend at work unpaid averages about 35 hours a month. That would be like your employer saying to you, you have to come to work for an entire week, but we're not going to pay you. It's a very similar circumstance for us.
So with where we are at right now, and like I said at the beginning of this interview, you know, it says 243 days on the AC Component website since the bargaining process began. It seems then that there's been some sticking points.
There have been, exactly. So a few of those points that I can speak to is the unpaid work portion. We do have a campaign going, unpaid work won't fly. So that is a big sticking point, wages and work rules. It's been 10 years, right? So it's there's a few things that we need to update in that collective agreement.
Now, Air Canada, sometimes for reasons that it will say are beyond its control, sometimes otherwise, has had some challenging press going back to 2 years ago with whether it's luggage being lost, wheelchairs being thrown out of potentially being thrown from aircraft, or if it's the change of the Aeroplan program. But the company still touts its customer service. And ultimately, one thing that I've heard from flight attendants speaking on background, they say that a lot of times they're the one that are bearing the brunt of people's frustrations and they should be paid for it. Do you agree?
It's true. There's a lot of things that go into getting the aircraft off the ground. What I will say for certain is we're here because we love our jobs. We love what we do. We just should be compensated fully and fairly for all of our hours at work.
right now, do you think that there's a good chance that things could go? I know that's a very difficult question and one that I don't know if a union would really want to answer, or even anyone on a bargaining committee. But can you say right now that there's a chance even that there will be a strike in a week?
So nothing is for certain, but what I can say is that the goal of this is to be able to negotiate a fair collective agreement. However, we will be prepared if that should not be possible.
I really appreciate your time. Shannon Elliott, once again, is the co-chair of the Air Canada Component Mobilization Committee with CUPE, and we again appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, just as we finish up with Shannon, this is a statement we did receive from Canada's formerly nationalized air carrier and still the flagship carrier of Canada. Air Canada says it remains at the table and is focused on achieving a goal with CUPE that recognizes the contributions of flight attendants and supports the competitiveness and long-term growth of the company. The statement also says that demonstrations are a part of such negotiations, referring to what's expected to happen tomorrow, and we don't expect our flights to be impacted on Monday.